Only 2 races remain in the IORA Cup Series championship quest. The gap between your top 2 title contenders is only 12 points. And tonight, the paperclip returns as our penultimate event in Season 5. Welcome back to the IORA Cup Series. The championship battle is as close as ever, and it's come down to 2 of the best drivers in this series. Season 3 champion Jim Thurston and River Page looking for his first ever title at the end of the season. Martinsville Speedway is the host for tonight's event for 150 laps of short track racing, and this is a track we've seen in almost every season of IORA competition so far, and every time we come back to this track, it's due to be exciting and it's due to be intense. Championship implications come to pass as this is the Chillville 150. We thank you all for stopping by as we just got things going here live on FTN, and hope you stick around as we are now into qualifying, and it looks like this is a 20-minute open qualifying session, so we'll see if every driver is going to use each and every minute. Driver's getting on the way right now, and it looks like you can see one driver on the move for his time. It's Braxton Whitaker. So we have ourselves single car qualifying once again, and we hope you stay with us here as qualifying is indeed on the move. I'll be your host for tonight's broadcast. I'm David Kreutz, commentating and producing, and as it stands, Will Shack is on the pole position. Braxton Ruiz goes down pit road, and Devins Baker now gets on the way. And as we get things moving now, there's Devins Baker moving back into the inside of the racing circuit. Corey Lyles is on pit road right now, and Aaron Schugel is now on the track. We're going to be keeping a watch on who goes onto the circuit and when. I believe now it is Clark Nance who's going to be taking his lap after Schugel. Aaron jumps up to the pole position, and now Clark Nance in the number 9 is on the way. Nance has not raced with us here for several seasons, but if you're watching IORA for a while now, you might know that name. A competitor in seasons 2 and 3, very close to winning in Talladega during season 2, so definitely a driver who knows a thing or two about what it takes here in IORA. And Nance at the line is going to be a 19.83. Yep, jumping up to the top of the board, Clark Nance has the provisional pole, and up next is Wyatt Wilkerson in the number 90. 2 Wilkersons are with us tonight in this event. Jacob Wilkerson is also going to be taking a qualifying time. These 2 drivers, however, are not related and just happen to have the same last name. There are 3 Wilkersons registered in this series. I think this is only the second time we've seen Wyatt, and Wilkerson is going to jump up into 4th for the time being. Just like that, it's going to now be Corey Lyles on the way. Lyles comes into the day 4th in the championship standings, and he was facing elimination in the first round. He's been able to not only move on successfully, but also become a top 5 contender in this series. So Lyles doing a very, very solid job of bringing up his championship position. He gets 4th on the board, and up next, it's going to be Henry Kaloff in the number 63. Kaloff is 8th in the title fight, and it's a really close battle between 6th and 9th. There's a gap between those positions of 13 points. Kaloff finds himself right in the middle in the 8th spot, so Henry with a chance to do some damage tonight and make up a spot or 2. He'll jump up to 2nd on the qualifying charts, as up next, well, we mentioned it, here's our 2nd Wilkerson, Jacob Wilkerson, who's a winner this season and a playoff contender on the way. And if Wilkerson does win this race, he has potential to move up to 4th in the championship standings. He's fighting right alongside Corey Lyles and Daniel Mosteller. Demos is with us tonight after a unfortunately weak race at Talladega and missing Watkins Glen. He's out of the championship race for all things that we consider realistic. And Wilkerson now jumps in behind Wyatt. It's Jacob to 7th as Vincent Guecci's on the way. A lot of drivers right now are almost entirely out of the title run. Anyone beyond the 7th spot, and Jacob Wilkerson's gonna have a real troublesome time making it happen, even with perfect races. And realistically, Brandon Dugan might be the dark horse of the day. He is gonna be one of the drivers to keep an eye out for as Guecci jumps up the pole. And up next, long time no see, Michael Cormetis is back in IORA. He last raced during Season 3, and he's once again returned, a veteran who actually has 1 victory in his career, and was Las Vegas Season 3, winning at Sin City and grabbing the provisional pole. Michael Cormetis up to the top spot in qualifying. Not half bad there for Mikey. And up next, it's going to be River Page, your points leader. Now looking to make some gains here in the qualifying charts. As River comes across the stripe, it's going to be a 19.551. That is good for the pole by 1/10 of a second and easily. Page up to the top, no doubt about it. Nathan Palawada now on the way. And as we're running this reverse practice order, the quickest drivers tending to go later, we might see another one of those walk-off pole position runs. A few drivers have done that this season, notably Jim Thurston. Thurston's done it twice so far, getting the pole in the final run, and Nathan Palawada jumps up to 4th. Not a bad run there for Nathan, but still a ways to go. Ashton Crowder, the road to pro driver we've seen previously. He has himself, matter of fact, some Coke experience, and he has returned. It's the number 53 of Crowder now on his way. He got one win so far at Charlotte, and is now looking at his second start. Let's see what Ashton can do as he comes across the line at 19.377. That was pole by nearly 2/10. No doubt pole position for Ashton Crowder, and he made that one look easy. Going to be a very hard time to beat. Daniel Mosteller's the next man to set off on the quest. And this track might look pretty simple, and in all honesty, these drivers do have the advantage of just being leaning into that inside banking, what little banking there is, but it takes a special kind of driver to get it all perfectly. That's going to put Mosteller in the 3rd. Not a bad run there for the 87 in the slightest. And now Joe Armstrong is on the way, the road to pro phenom, a driver who was not slated to be one of the top 70 drivers, maybe not on anyone's prediction list, but he ended up becoming a top 10 driver in that series, and as such has made his way into the big time with round number 2. And Armstrong, who's had success here in IORA, does not have success in qualifying. This lap will not count. Up next is Jim Thurston. Bit of a different look as of recent for Thurston in the 9016. It's a dark horse paint scheme, similar to what you see on Sunday nights at the Schumacher Racing League, in which Thurston is another driver, and he's gotten himself a victory in that car at Kansas. Thurston knows what's up now with the 96 machine, another different paint scheme. You might remember his L.W. Wright tribute, and now Thurston up to 2nd, 56 thousandths back on the pole, and that will end qualifying. Thurston close to walking it off, but just not enough. Kyle Turksack not happy. He gets skipped. The reason being is he did not set a practice time. So, for the drivers who do not know, you have to set at least one practice time, and Kyle Turksack looks to have been skipped over as a result. He might not be aware of that rule, however, that's the way it goes. So Kyle not able to get a time in, as does not Chase Schaefer, Brandon Dugan, and Braxton Whitaker with no validated time. The starting grid is now coming onto your screen, and River Page is going to be right now in the 2nd row. He might look like your pole sitter because the front row is not yet there. However, take a look just above, and it's Jim Thurston and Ashton Crowder, the drivers that get to lead the field. Let's take a look at your starting grid tonight in the IORA Cup Series. It is Ashton Crowder with the pole position and Jim Thurston then in 2nd. Gap between the top 2 drivers in qualifying is 56 1/1000ths. Up next from there, you're going to see River Page, your pole sitter, in 3rd, and Daniel Mosteller, the 2-time IORA Cup Series champion, in 4th. Demos with another strong season, but it looks like his championship run will come to a close, missing one race at Watkins Glen, and he had another very good opportunity of getting that 3rd title, but unfortunately just didn't work out. Mosteller saying that tonight, though, he skipped his graduation to do this race. So let's hope it's going to be a fruitful result for Mosteller there as he decided to come back on the racetrack. Michael Cormetis is going to be 5th tonight, and Vincent Guecci's in 6th. Mikey making his first start in 2 seasons, and then from there, 7th place in Nathan Palawada, and 8th. There is Clark Nance. 9th spot goes to Henry Kaloff, and it's going to be Aaron Schugel in the 91 machine, rounding out the top 10 for JFR. A few other JFR drivers in the field, including 12th place Corey Lyles, Devins Baker right beside him in 11th. Then you got Wyatt Wilkerson and Jacob Wilkerson, 13th and 14th. The Wilkersons not doing too well in qualifying. and Will Shack going to be 15th. Joe Armstrong, position number 16. 17th place is going to be Chase Schaefer, and Kyle Turksack is in 18th, with 19th place being Brendan Dugan and Braxton Whitaker. Then, rounding out the top 20 drivers are on tonight's field. From top to bottom, Chase Schaefer still trying to connect, and Wyatt Wilkerson getting an end-of-line penalty and setting himself to the back of the circuit. Martinsville is a much different track from some of the ovals and road courses we've recently visited, from Talladega to Watkins Glen to Martinsville, back at a short track, and tonight might be all the difference for the championship race. Perhaps one of the most important races this season, if not the most important race. If River Page or Jim Thurston break out tonight and get a good run, that could be the championship decided before we head back to Homestead, Miami. iRacing official pace car comes down and in. Ashton Crowder down to the inside, and Jim Thurston up top will lead the field back to green in Martinsville. And it looks like Clark Nance is wiggling, but we stay straight. Welcome to the Chillville 150. Well, Clark Nance doesn't stay straight too quickly, and it looks like everyone gets away. Pace car will drop in, and it looks like we now have ourselves on to lap number 2. Ashton Crowder is going to push River Page to second and push Jim Thurston to the wayside. Oh, wow. Jim going to face it, and he finds himself now in 4th outside the podium from the front row. Not a good look right now for that 96 team. They got a lot of time to recover, but it's just not the best circumstance to be in, all things considered. So we'll see how Jim recovers as the day progresses. Currently, though, of course, staying just within the confines of the podium is most important. Coming up on Lapper, the next driver they're going to be coming up on is Chase Schaefer. 2 lappers to keep your eyes on, the first of which is the 99 of Schaefer, who missed the start of today's race with an errant disconnection. However, he is back in it, so I don't think there's going to be much an issue right now for Chase Schaefer. He should be able to keep on going and perhaps get himself back with a lead lap crowd as the night goes on. But there's also Clark Nance, and as it stands, Nance is going to find himself in 19th and spot on the first lap. So Clark, a tricky situation to be in as Nathan Palawada goes up to the high side, and he finds himself nearly out of sorts. Luckily, another driver who keeps it straight, and Ashton Crowder now going to be your leader by about a quarter of a second. Crowder, Page, Demos, 1, 2, 3 with Will Shack now disconnecting early. It leaves us with 19 drivers in the field. Let's take a look back at some mid-pack battles. Kyle Turksack right now going to be with Devins Baker. Baker going to let the driver there in the 015 go right by, and as such, that's going to bring Devins back into 12th. Overall, though, not a bad spot to be in. He's got a lot of competitive drivers right around him, and you see Corey Lyles now going down to the inside. Lyles looking for a move here. Multiple JFR cars on the track. Lyles and Aaron Schugel going to be holding the fort tonight, and Aaron has made a few spots up. He's from 10th to 7th, and now Joe Armstrong going to hustle him for a spot, and so is Michael Cormetis. Mikey going to be coming down the main straight into turn 1 on the bottom side, and a quick maneuver for Michael Cormetis gets him up a spot. That will put him into 8th. However, Mikey did lose a few spots in that initial run, and as such, well, he finds himself down 3 on the day so far. Could be down 4 if he once again swaps that position. Now with Cormetis coming through this time by, he's got Joe Armstrong just ahead. Ashton Crowder still your race leader and doing a great job of what he's got to work with here. However, we talk about Clark Nance, and he had an incident to kick this race off, and the damage is severe. So perhaps we can try to take a look back and figure out what happened. That's exactly what we're going to do. Clark Nance on the first lap of this race saw trouble, bringing it all the way to the beginning, and this is what happened. We almost thought it was going to be a caution, but it did not end up being one. Well, let's figure out what caused it. This might have also gotten Will Shack involved. So, start of the race, it's a little bit of a pile-up with the JFR cars, and Nance gets A little bit of contact from Schugel, then going to one. And the rear bumper's already gone from there, and Joe Armstrong catches a piece. Everyone gets away there from Clark Nance, but that could have been dicey. Luckily, nobody else gets involved. So, taking a look back up in front after your first incident, the field's gotten away, and we're organized for, hopefully, a longer run. Martinsville Speedway is a track that's gotten many opportunities on FTN to shine, and perhaps none greater than the IORA Cup Series in terms of this series. Well, we've seen it multiple times over. Visit the paperclip. And in all honesty, when it comes down to drivers who want to prove their skill, no matter if it's in the front of the season or the back end, from start to finish, top to bottom, this is one of the best places to get it done. You know who won last season? He's our points leader right now, River Page. He got his first and only win of the season at Martinsville earlier in this year, and although River, of course, finds himself in a much better position now, you might say that the momentum started at this track all the way back in late Season 4. He was able to win at Martinsville, and it was not a dominant race. However, he found the perfect opportunity to get by his competitors who were racing each other very, very aggressively. You might remember at that time it was a fierce championship battle between the likes of Jim Thurston and Sean Conklin. Cautions out, Aaron Schugel the cause, and it looks like Aaron damaged as he goes down to the inside. Yellow flags out. Let's take a look one more time. And it looked like Aaron was on his own, and that he was. Got loose, drifted up the track, and as such, a lazy spin brings out the first caution. Yellow flag is out. 18 laps in out of 150, and just like that, let's move on to what is next. Ashton Crowder going to find himself now on the move in that number 53. River Page going to be second. Jim Thurston is in third. When it comes down to Martinsville, if you want to go through every single winner in this series so far, well, Alex Anderson was the first winner at this track, Martinsville, in Season 1. Then from there, Braden Mother got a victory in Season 2. And Season 3 had multiple opportunities on the table. The reason being, we started with the trucks and ended up with the next-gen. So we saw two Martinsville races. Sean Conklin won the first, and Jim Thurston won the second. And in Season 4, River Page won the one and only. So, to this point, Martinsville has never had a repeat winner in this series. We find ourselves with multiple races. There are 5 races and 5 different winners. This is the 6th race in IORA Cup Series history at Martinsville. The first ever that we broadcasted was that Martinsville race, which Braden Movick was able to win in. And from there on out, we have been giving you coverage just about every single race. And you've seen drivers such as Mosteller get the victory. Not at this track, however. Alex Anderson didn't get the victory prior to Season 2, or rather, he only got it in Season 1, so we didn't see that one on broadcast. However, Anderson's 5th win of his Season 1 campaign came at the paperclip. River Page, well, he was the 3rd best driver last season, to put it bluntly. You might remember his interview, basically, in that season's finale, was discussion of how he felt he was a little bit behind compared to the championship rivals who were facing off at the front of the field. It was almost as if he was one step back no matter what. Now, Sean Conklin is no longer running this series full-time, but you see drivers like Mosteller, like Thurston. You see a very competitive group now with guys like Ashton Crowder. And no doubt in my mind that it's gotten to become an even stronger field as this league has progressed. And Page has been able to step up to it this year, and he's put on one fantastic performance. But it's not done, because Thurston right now has the advantage over him and runs in second. Didn't have that good of a start. He fell back down to 4th, but as you can see now, he's back in the front row and is looking to do it all over again with a little bit of help from Daniel Mosteller right behind him. Ashton Crowder going to lead us back for restart number 1 on the day. Let's get at it one more time. Green flags out. Ashton Crowder leads. Everyone gets by rather quickly. Down to the inside goes River Page, and you see Daniel Mosteller up top. There goes Henry Kaloff right there with... Oh, it's big contact back of the field. Joe Armstrong going to spin. The caution will fly. Armstrong, Schaefer, Schugel, and Dugan involved in that one. Quick yellow flag, second of the day. Let's take a look back and find out what caused it. So it was Armstrong down low, bumped up by Dugan. Then Lyles is going to bump into number 55. And just like that, Joe's the only driver that goes around. Although Lyles and Dugan were pretty close to ending up spinning, they used each other as retainers as Wyatt Wilkerson ends up catching collateral damage. The 90 almost in big trouble himself, but it looks like Wyatt should be just fine. Looking back live, there's Ashton Crowder once again, 24 laps in, a second caution, a quick run to the second caution here, and hopefully it doesn't end up setting the tone for this race. Let's talk about pit stops. Clark Nance went down 5 laps ago. He's up to 13th now. Corey Lyles went back to pit road 5 laps ago as well. Wyatt Wilkerson just went down a pit road, and so did Brandon Dugan, and so did Chase Schaefer. So a few drivers have just come in for their second stop of the day. For Wilkerson, that is his first, and the rest of the field, which is the top 12 right now, have chosen not to come into pit road at all. This is going to leave Ashton Crowder as your leader, River Page in second, and Jim Thurston third. Schaefer's now going to be on his way, and overall, although he was involved in that previous caution, getting a yellow flag is the saving grace of his night. Didn't go 1 lap down, although some minor right side scuffs are still evident. Being on the lead lap is a huge deal in regards to his success in this race. Going to have to come down a pit road again. The King of Atlanta, he's won there in 2 consecutive seasons now, and perhaps an opportunity to do it all over again next season. Schaefer's become a part-time competitor, but still got a playoff berth just off of his success in his part-time runs. Ends up finding himself as a top 12 driver in this league yet again. So hopefully for Schaefer, he gets back out there, but being on the lead lap is a huge first step. And see now, the field's going to be coming across the start-finish. Crowder going up high, and it looks like he's going to decide to stay at the bottom. There goes Jim Thurston to the top side, and River Page there with. It'll be now a lap to go until we go green. Two by two, the field will stay. Chase Schaefer actually opts to go 1 lap down here and get some extra damage repaired. That was a 51-second pit stop, and Schaefer once again is with the pack. However, 1 lap down as we head to lap number 28. It's going to be now Crowder and Thurston again in control. River Page opting low, and Vincent Guecci in the 4th spot. Green flags out again. It looks like the JFR car, the 91, is a little bit of trouble, but we're underway once more. It's Power Smash Infinity Speed, 2nd and 3rd, but now River going to try to put himself in the advantageous position for the championship. Thurston so far has been holding off River in the first 5th of this race, and I know right now for Page, he needs to get that spot for the sake of the championship, but it's not going to be easy. Thurston knowing that if he lets River Page go, it's very slim the opportunity to get those points back in Homestead, Miami. So this is just about his most important race here. Defense, defense, defense is necessary, and there's a caution again. Schugel and Corey Lyles. And the back of the field once again gives way to a 3rd caution tonight. Lyles makes double contact with Palawada and then Clark Nance. Then Joe Armstrong and his teammate ends up eventually finishing the job. That was Aaron Schugel who gets the final piece of the puzzle. Here's a look one more time off the 91. Nowhere to go for Aaron Schugel, and the teammates will touch. Yellow flag is out once again, 31 laps in. Now this is going to bring a few more drivers down to pit road. Lyles, his second stop. Aaron Schugel, his second. Brendan Dugan, his third. And for Wyatt Wilkerson, looks like he just got out of pit road for his second. Nobody else going to come in for their first start. The top 12 remain out on the field, confident that what they have in store is just fine for now. And with more cautions coming through, more caution laps taking away from the action, I don't expect us to have a reason to go down to pit road for tires anytime soon. Field is once again together, and it looks like Chase Schaefer is indeed on the lead lap. So he expected an outcome just like that, getting the caution, and as such, we are pacing with Schaefer back on the lead lap. 15th spot for Schaefer right now, and it's going to be 16th for Brendan Dugan. 17th place goes to Joe Armstrong, and 18th is Corey Lyles with Aaron Schugel. Then position number 19, Ashton Crowder has led all 33 laps so far, and he's hoping to keep it that way once the green flag returns. One lap to green, a slightly shortened yellow, and it's going to be once again Crowder and Thurston. Top two, Daniel Mosteller gets back inside the fourth spot, and your third row now is going to be made up of Vincent Guecci and Michael Cormetis. Mikey ends up getting back in the row that he qualified on, so he was as low as about 10th place. He's made his way back up here, and maybe a chance to fight for the top 5 if we get a longer run in here. Lyles and Schugel, among Dugan and Armstrong, involved in both of the past 2 cautions. Let's hope it's not third time's the charm for them, and let's keep things going under green. It's going to be restart number 4 now. Crowder gets away, and it is a wiggle again. Back of the field is tight. There's Wyatt Wilkerson. He'll have to concede as the field tries to get through 1 and 2. Three wide, 2 rows deep. Can you believe it? At Martinsville, no less. And it's going to be barely Joe Armstrong getting up to the high side once again. There's Clark Nance, and it's going to be once again side by side with Palawada and Armstrong indeed. Now Joe's going to take a spot and move down under on Clark Nance. Tight racing here, 3 wide at Martinsville. That's quite the risk, and luckily these drivers are going to get out of it unscathed, but that could have been much, much worse. Now it's going to be Braxton Whitaker going down and under on Aaron Schugel, 3 wide there with Palawada, but Nathan's going to get the better of which, and he falls right back off. Ashton Crowder leads the way now by 4/10. Jim Thurston going to be 3rd, and Daniel Mosteller going to be 4th with Michael Cormetis 5th. Kyle Turczak has been limping around the circuit because he went down to pit road. Oh, and the wall again. There's Joe Armstrong. That's going to be Joe's night. The caution flies. Yeah, it looks like Joe Armstrong here once again. It looks like he was disconnecting from the session, almost as if he parked it, but no, he gets back on the way here. The yellow flag is out now for the 5th time. Let's take a look back at what caused it. An instant replay will show you. It looks like Joe getting up on the wall after what could have been another 3-wide scuffle. And no, this time it was just Jacob Wilkerson up on the wall, and there goes Joe. And Corey Lyles and Clark Nance nearly catch a piece again. The tamer incident rather than the few previous, but the caution is out regardless. This will bring in for the first time Ashton Crowder, River Page, and Jim Thurston. They'll decide to go down to pit road after 40 laps here. Slowly but surely, we're seeing drivers make that move in. Now it's going to be Daniel Mosteller who decides to take the race lead, and Michael Cormetis then 2nd, Henry Kaloff, position number 3. Chase Schaefer looks to be another disconnection for the 99. He started one lap down as a result, or rather started half a track down and almost went one under, and it looks like he's once again left the session. So for Chase Schaefer, maybe the night is over after only 41 laps, and looks like for him he's going to back out of this one at least temporarily. Maybe a chance to get him back here, but the caution is going to be ending soon, and he'll be multiple laps down by the time he returns, if he does so. Now, of the drivers who are still left on the lead lap, these are the few that have not gone down a pit road once at all. Daniel Mosteller in fourth. Is first. Michael Cormetis is second, and he's right there in the runner-up spot. He goes high. Henry Kaloff is going to be in third, and Devins Baker is then in fourth. Clark Nance has not gone down a pit road, however, he is in seventh, and it looks like right now he's going to be at the tail end of this pack as Chase Schaefer chooses again to connect to the session, disconnects, and comes back once more. 42 laps in out of 150. It's going to be your fifth restart of the day, and it's been tricky on track so far. Hopefully we break the cycle eventually, but it looks like Daniel Mosteller now is in control, assuming the top spot on the day. Let's see what he can do with it here as Michael Cormetis is right beside him. Restart number 5. Green flags out, and Demos leads us through. It's another big one. Jugel, Nance, Palawada, familiar faces here, and the 6th caution of the day comes out. Take a look back and find out what caused it again, but I think now it's a usual suspect, and I think right now these drivers are driving a bit over their heads. 4 wide into turn 1, 4 wide through turn 2, and then 4 wide out of 2. You cannot go 4 wide at Martinsville and expect that to work. The entire field did that, and we saw what happened. Simply put, another driver's error, but a lot of drivers making the same error at once, and the fact they've gone 3 wide multiple times is a shock. 4 wide through 2 turns, and it did not work. Didn't even get the cool points on that one as the field once again simmers down. It's unfortunate for the drivers up at the front of the field, really not getting a chance to develop that battle for the lead, and moreover, the battle for the championship. River Page is once again ahead here, and it looks like he's 2 spots up on Jim Thurston. Not a major gap, but at the same time, if we keep getting yellow flags, there's not going to really be a chance to make up positions naturally here, and the whole race has come down to largely cautions ever since lap 20. We've gone 30 laps basically under yellow the whole point. A frustrating way to get things going here in Martinsville as we are going to come around for lap number 50 shortly. Daniel Mosteller leads from Michael Cormetis in second, and we now have ourselves another shortened yellow. 1 lap to green this time by. Michael Cormetis once again opts for the high side as Daniel Mosteller goes down low, and the iRacing official pace car will let the field loose for the 6th restart on the day. At this pace, we'd be going for about 18 cautions, which of course might sound unrealistic, but it could happen if these drivers keep up the same attitude. It's not going to be easy for that to occur, but it is still potential. Time for Daniel Mosteller to once again lead the field back to green. The 87's going to get the jump. Green flags out. 6th restart again. Three wide now, Wyatt Wilkerson, Joe Armstrong, and Kyle Turksack. That sends Jim Thurston right up the track, and as such, another trouble for the 96. Bad news for a championship contender, and Demos gets away. So now, Daniel Mosteller going to find himself the leader. Title battling is going to be further on back. You see River Page there, still with Joe Armstrong, and it's largely 2x2 all throughout the field. Now with River and Armstrong, though, so close to one another here, 2x2, looks like drivers are not letting off. There's Jim Thurston with Braxton Whitaker and even Devins Baker. Baker stays high, trying to get the run off the corner, and it looks like here he just might. But Jim Thurston enough speed to power it down to the inside groove and once again get away with the position. Thurston now going to get a bit of a redemption run here. The 96 looking down and under. Clark Nance, that's the battle for 10th, and he's got the spot. Now Chase Schaefer gets back in the lead lap once more, and he's got himself under Devins Baker. Let's take a ride on board for a lap with Chase Schaefer and see what's going on. Getting almost double blocked right now. Chase Schaefer feeling the struggle. He's got Aaron Schugel and Braxton Whitaker to deal with here. And now Corey Lyles on the wall once again. What's the call? No caution. Corey Lyles stays in the wall, and the yellow flag does not get thrown. And it looks like Mason Moriarty about tired of what's going on the track, and the admin team has decided that Lyles is going to have to deal with that one. Take a look at this one as you see Corey Lyles perhaps getting some contact from Henry Kaloff from that far back. I would be very surprised. Take a look again, and you'll see the 56 loose sand up on his own. So no, not going to be a multi-car incident there. Yellow flag does not fly. We stay green regardless of what just occurred. Daniel Mosteller going to find himself the leader, 56 laps in, and Michael Cormetis is there in second. Ashton Crowder now rounds out the top three. Tell you this much, if you got a favorite driver that you're rooting on tonight on FTN, make sure to let us know. The chat room, we'd love to have you there, and it's wide open. Give us your shout-outs. Any driver you'd like to support, we'll get their name up there, and we'll, of course, put you up there as we've got shout-outs going on all throughout tonight's broadcast. Give us a holler here at FTN, and we'd love to, of course, interact with our crowd here. If you got any questions or anything to say about the drivers here, make sure to let us know, because we're only about a third of the way through this one. But there's not a lot of time. It's going to go by pretty quickly here, so you've got to stay engaged as Braxton Whitaker goes high. Devins Baker decides to make the slick move down to the bottom side. Here comes Devins, looking low as it's going to be Kyle Turczak now losing some time. And, well, Jacob Wilkerson more than anyone else loses time. He's 13 laps down and back on the circuit. And you might have saw him there briefly. He's now back on the track on the underside as Braxton takes the spot. Clark Nance going to find himself now in 10th. And Clark, a return race for him and for Michael Cormetis. So a few drivers were sort of getting their first tips back into this series, getting a little bit of an opportunity to feel out the track and get to know what's going on. Turczak and Nance going at it right now for a single-digit spot, and Michael Cormetis having a great return race. He is up into second so far, and Mikey, a driver who we knew was competitive from the jump when he came here in the IORA Cup Series, now what seems to be more than 2 years ago, well, it looks like Clark Nance is going to bring out the yellow flag. Let's take a look back here and figure out what specifically happened. His motor looks like it blew. That might be his night. Side by side, and they were there 2 by 2 for about a lap's worth before we switched the cameras. And as they come into turn 1 and 2 here, it looks like Turczak is going to once again lean down there on Nance. Clark having no choice but try to run away. He gets hooked and goes down, and Nance, I think he got hooked into it. We'll take a look on board there because it was he and Kyle Turczak involved. The onboard camera from Kyle Turczak will tell us a little bit more than what we just saw. Well, he certainly wasn't turning away from Clark Nance. Yellow flag is out, and I think Turczak maybe some frustrations boiling over there, and we might be seeing some short track tempers. Abel Thomas in the chat room, rooting today for Wyatt Wilkerson. Wilkerson right now running in 16th before we get down to a major pit cycle. As it stands, majority of the field looks to be Staying out on the track, Daniel Mosteller on the way. He and Michael Cormetis are the only drivers right now who have chosen to stay on the track for the entirety of the race. A lot of talk about Wyatt Wilkerson right now, the number 90 Castrol Edge Machine. Grayson, thank you for stopping by as well. And, well, if there's anything positive about Wyatt's race so far, he's doing better out of the two Wilkersons. Jacob right now is in 19th. Wyatt is in 15th. He's winning the Wilkerson battle. So if that means anything, well, there you have it. Wyatt Wilkerson is currently the better of the two Wilkersons today. Let's see if he can pick up any more positions from there. I'm sure he'd like to be better than the entire field right now, but he's got a ways to go till that point. There's still a lot of drivers, a lot of competitive drivers out on the track who are not going to make that goal easy to achieve. And I'd have to agree when it comes to survival of the fittest right now. As long as you're on the track, you have a chance to go out there and get a good run. So long as you don't find yourself with major damage and so long as you don't use that fast repair. That is detrimental. Let's talk about guys who have used the fast repair so far. Well, Wyatt admittedly has used his fast repair, so he is out of second chances, and so is Clark Nance. Nance has used his, so is Chase Schaefer, so has Joe Armstrong, and not a lot of other drivers have. Will Shack disconnected, but before Will Shack disconnected, he did not use his fast repair. He simply called it a night. So, not a lot of drivers have burned through that extra opportunity so far. We got to see who's going to be more patient from here on out, though, because there's still a ways to go. One lap to green now will be coming lap number 66. It's Mosteller and Cormetis. First and second here. The Sim Racing design car for Tyler Tinsley's up in front, and Mikey's Coca-Cola Chevy Camaro is there in second. Green flag is due to fly at lap number 66, and there it goes. Back in the air for restart number 7. Are you kidding me? 3 wide already! And there's Thurston, there's Armstrong, there's Guecci. I cannot believe, well, he's not going to get away with it fully. There it goes, Aaron Schugel and Kyle Turksack. The yellow flag is due to come out. Aggression again. Just a lot of aggressive driving so far, and that's been the name of the game. Take a look back and you'll see what happened. Here's the instant replay on the matter. Schugel loose, up to Schaefer, comes down to Kyle Turksack, simple as, and these drivers are running so far off of turn 2, running 3 wide again, and there are consequences to these drivers' actions, and unfortunately, it looks like once again, a few drivers are going to have to pay the price. Turksack involved with another incident, as he was involved previously with Clark Nance. Now he finds himself in the losing end of the battle. So Daniel Mosteller once again in control, and it looks like for him, not going down a pit road has been the best decision of the night. Now, he's led the most laps on the day. Ashton Crowder has admittedly gotten close, but not close enough to get in that race lead back. And, well, there's one driver who might be a little bit hungrier. There's River Page. 69 laps in, Page holds a nice championship lead of 12 points. And we will suggest the fact that this could be the championship deciding race before we head to Homestead next week. The reason being, if Page is able to build up just a little bit more of a gap in the championship, say he pulls together about 5 or 6 more points, 20 plus is a huge barrier for one race, and especially with the field sizes we've been having. What is Aaron Schugel doing down there? He goes down to the apron and almost cuts up there on a Page and Cormetis. Oh, luckily not involved with any other trouble. Schugel, and he got it tight there, as we do not have grass here at Martinsville anymore. You simply have a Chevy-branded pavement, and he's going to take his Chevy all the way down and under on it. Back to the points lead. River Page right now finds himself 1 spot ahead of Jim Thurston, and if he builds up about 8 or 9 points from here, he should be in a very firm position to come home with a championship unless disaster happens at Homestead. He's got to be good today. He won't have to be great next week if he just picks up the slack tonight and finishes off strong. However, Ways to go till then, and it is a long time coming till the checkered flag. Daniel Mosteller going to bring us back to green. Mikey going to be second. Let's do it one more time. Green flags out. This is your 8th restart of the day. Everyone survives the first 2 turns. Let's see if they come through the second 2 in good shape. Yes, they do. Great job there for Wyatt Wilkerson. Kyle Turczak in the back half of the field here, keeping it. Oh, there's Vincent Guecci. Vinny up on the wall. Is that a caution? No. Vincent Guecci does not get the yellow flag, but he is destroyed. I think that could be his night. Well, it looks like Aaron Schugel going to find trouble, and that might bring out the yellow flag in itself. But take a look back at this replay first as Vincent Guecci sent in by Joe Armstrong. Then Wyatt Wilkerson found trouble, and it looks like the caution's out. Here's another look as we're already in replay mode. So let's take a look at exactly what happened. Schugel spins, and he's out of the way. Then comes Wyatt, and he gets involved too. Well, you see that? Braxton Whitaker going to spin him, then Dugan gets another piece of contact. Bad news there for Wyatt Wilkerson, who's running his own race and then gets multiple instances of contact on the backside. The damage doesn't look to be major, but it's going to be scuffing all around. And looking inside the cockpit, let's check if there's any. Yeah, there's suspension damage. Oh, for Wyatt Wilkerson, bad news. Corey Lyles looks to be on the way. Wilkerson, we're getting a double check. Is it suspension damage? Yeah, there's a problem there with that number 90. No doubt, Wilkerson's in big trouble here. Looks like he's got it towed out. We're at the halfway mark here in Martinsville, and it's a little bit of a slower race than we would have expected. Here's your halfway race summary. Well, we're coming through at the end of lap number 75 now, and 8 cautions so far, 30 caution laps, and 2 lead changes. So, yeah, it has been quite the wreck-filled race. We will be on pace right now for about 16 cautions, which is below our original estimate of about 18. We should be able to come down realistically to 14 if this pace plays out for the rest of the day. However, that's still not very optimistic here, and River Page and Jim Thurston are now your top 2 drivers. Still, the championship leaders find themselves up at the point. Maybe a chance right now for them to make something happen and start battling up at the front of the field. It's all at the mercy of the back half, though. And we've seen it all night long. If the top 10 drivers get away, those bottom 5, well, they can make everything change in just a moment's notice. River goes down low, and Jim chooses to take that front row up high. Daniel Mosteller, well, he's going to be no longer inside the top 4 as Clark Nance goes up top, and Chase Schaefer from the back of the field, 17 on up. Well, now look at that. It's going to be Schaefer up into 3rd. Chase is going to be right there, just ahead of Joe Armstrong and Nathan Palawada. Now that we've moved on to the second half of this race, we should be able to get things going cleanly. Here comes River Page. Green flags out again. Thurston's up top and gets blocked immediately into the first 2 corners. Three wide on back, and it looks like the result of that will be one driver having to give in Corey Lyles, and as such, everyone makes it around for this first lap back under green. No trouble right now, but we'll see how long that holds up. And everyone is looking for an opportunity to make passes. Nobody is content with riding tonight. Not in the slightest here. You see 2x2 and a little bit of beating and bagging. Clark Nance there with Nathan Palawada, and Clark up top. He is going to find a little bit of a shift in his rhythm, and he's getting moved on up and down, left and right. The mid-pack is tight. Turksack going to move Clark Nance just a bit further up, and you see there, Clark is going to get passed rapidly and sent to the back of the train. Here comes Michael Cormetis coming up on him, and it looks like now Clark is going to be fighting to stay inside the top 15 from where he was in the confines of the top 5. And Kyle Turksack, one little move is going to make all the difference as he sends Clark Nance up. Now Daniel Mosteller is right under Henry Kaloff, and I think the question becomes, how do the veterans approach this compared to the new drivers? And you're seeing that right now. Daniel Mosteller, relatively, compared to these drivers, he's been on the service for a long, long while. He's been here since season 1 of the IORA Cup Series, and he's been able to methodically make his way through. So far, Demos, despite being in that hornet's nest, he has not been involved in any of the incidents so far tonight. Doing a real good job of keeping himself in a good position despite all that's gone on around him. And having that ability to get out of trouble is so important at a track like Martinsville. Even if it looks to be a challenge, some drivers have been able to make things happen despite all that they've seen in their surroundings. And that's the big thing about a driver who's a veteran, such as potentially see Ashton Crowder make his way up. He might be able to get back up there in the fight for lead. Shea Schaefer, Thurston, and River Page. I mean, there's a reason these drivers are up here consistently week after week. They've figured a lot of things out. No race is ever the same. You can't really prepare necessarily for a race because no race is identical, simply put. The question becomes, how can you prepare for different scenarios? And when those scenarios come up, how do you react in the moment? Reacting in the moment is so much more different than you'd think about planning it. You're in the moment. There's drivers around you. They're all talking to each other. They have communication wide open. You hear everything. You see everything. You feel everything. And it's coming at you all at once. It's by no means easy. And Clark Nance is getting another circumstance where he's going to be moved back. Trying to get by Nathan Palawada here, but Clark Nance has been struggling down to 11th, and maybe going to be able to make it back up here on Palawada. Quick move around that number 78 is going to put Clark up there, just beyond the confines of the top 10. Henry Kaloff would be his next target. As you see here, now it's going to be Vincent Guecci and Kaloff going side by side. Henry gets right under Vincent Guecci, and that move is good for 9th. And now another move is going to be made. That could be good for 8th. And Kaloff now going to be looking for that 2 for 1 as he lunges down to the inside yet again. Henry Kaloff all of a sudden going to make 2 passes at once, and he's going to make them in 2 completely different fashions. It looked like Guecci might have made the first mistake in that battle he had with the 88, and you can see now Guecci's going to be recovering. He will take Kaloff up the track, and both drivers lose a position to Joseph Armstrong. So it looks like a little bit of aggression on Guecci's side is going to cost the both of them. 22 Joe gets right through. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Thurston and Page. Gap 0.3 of a second, and Thurston knows tonight he needs that win. If River Page stays up in front, the only thing he can do is pass him. Which will become a lot harder now with Daniel Mosteller coming through. And now Daniel Mosteller sees the yellow flag, and it's Devin Baker. You saw him there. Yellow flag's out. It's your 9th of the day, and the first of the second half here. Let's bring it back. And a simple spin there coming out of 4. Devin Baker brings out the caution and not able to get out of the way, of course, not trying to tow because of minimal damage. And as such, he's going to return back with the leaders. 1 lap down at the end of this caution, which should be about lap number 96. River Page is going to bring the leading crew down and into pit road. Jim Thurston, Daniel Mosteller, Ashton Crowder, and Shea Schaefer decides to stay out, so he's going to be one of the very few who decide to stay in this time by. You are looking at your pit exit camera, and you're going to see who decides to come out first. Right now, everyone getting settled into pit lane, but nobody in their box. Here comes Page and Thurston and Crowder alike. And now it's going to be the fight to get out of pit road. I think the advantage definitely going to be in the hands right now of River Page, unless Thurston's going to try something different. He could go for 2 tires, but that he does not. It's going to be Page, then Mosteller, then Thurston, then Ashton Crowder, and Kyle Turczak right after that. Mosteller splits up the championship hopeful, and it looks like, after further review, he does not. We thought Thurston got beat out there, but it looks like no. Daniel Mosteller ends up behind the 96. Your Season 3 champion getting a big break right now in the fight for the Season 5 title. Even one position makes all the difference. And as such, the driver of the 96 is now just behind River Page, and it's going to be a difference of 0.2 of a second. How about Chase Schaefer right now? 95 laps in out of 150, and he finds himself currently, well, as your race leader. Mike Cormetis is going to be in second, and Joe Armstrong is in third. And it's been a good day for the part-time guys. We'll see if they finish this way. Mikey opting to follow the 22 machine no longer. He'll take Chase Schaefer as his leader. Time to go at it again, side by side, and this is our 9th restart of the day. Now, we're getting close to a pace that might be under 12 cautions if the rest of the race runs like we just saw with about 20 lap stints to the very end. Here's to being hopeful for Chase Schaefer and Joe Armstrong. Your new race leaders are set to get us back at it this time by for lap number 97. Green flags out, back on the way with Schaefer leading. Right now, it's going to be Chase Schaefer looking down to the inside line. Joe Armstrong up top, and Mikey Cormetis, well, he's going to stay right behind Chase. And looks like he's got himself in a firm position, not looking to lose anything else. Jim Thurston up ahead of River Page, and for once, the high side might just have the advantage. And here at Martinsville, that is something you don't often see. You really don't have the opportunity too many times to use that high groove successfully, but you're seeing that multi-groove racing, and if Thurston gets down under Daniel Mosteller, that could mean everything for this championship race. Wasn't able to do so that time by. Maybe the goal now is to slide under Kyle Turczak and be safe, but no, he's going to hold up River Page and stay on that high groove. 99 laps in out of 150, and here comes Ashton Crowder, and Crowder is not here to play around. I'm certain he's not going to drive these too easy, regardless of championship status, and as such, look at that. Thurston and Page have both fallen back now to 9th and 10th. Oh, Kyle Turczak is loose. Turczak is spinning. The caution is out. And Kyle Turczak, a quick spin, gives way to the caution flag. Yellow flag is out. Kyle Turczak going to be the reason, and Joe Armstrong now finding himself at the front of the field, 101 laps in out of 150. Tell you this much, now that we're coming down to the home stretch, we'd like to extend a special offer courtesy of our friends at iRacing Motorsport Simulations. You know, we just had a major update on iRacing. Every platform on this service, whether it is the road platform, the oval platform, the dirt platform, every car for every track has the new damage model, and it's more realistic simulation than ever before. Coming up on our 16th anniversary, iRacing Motorsport Simulations provides high-quality simulation racing that's online with any driver throughout the world. You can meet your real-life heroes, you can race against your friends, you can find a league to work with, or race with drivers you might have never met before. You might never meet them again, but it's all about the experience here on iRacing, the most realistic sim racing experience in the world. Check out iRacing.com after tonight's broadcast, and we'll return after a brief message from iRacing Motorsport Simulations.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel.
Coming back this time by, it's going to be half a lap of pacing, 104 laps in, out of 150. Time to get back at it, and it's going to be Joe Armstrong right down low. How about Vincent Guecci up top? Both drivers maybe getting their best opportunity all night long for the race win. Let's see what they've got in score. Green flags out. It's going to be Guecci and Armstrong just about neck and neck off the line, but Joe gets the jump through one. Joe Armstrong going to find himself getting that race lead with Vincent Guecci second and Jay Schaefer there in third. Michael Cormettis going to be fourth, and as such, you find the 25 up on the high side here. It's 2x2 racing between Cormettis and River Page, just trying to make something happen, but so far, no luck. Here comes Jim Thurston. He's going to look low yet again. It's a quick move there, and they make it 3 wide, and just like that, Michael Cormettis has a loss for words, and he's going to lose a spot quickly. River Page gains 2, and he finds himself now up in a 5th. Jay Schaefer now going to be on the high side here with Thurston, not going to make Jim's life any easier, and the 96 machine losing 1 position could make all the difference here as River Page decides to go up top. Gotta wonder, is River going to try to use that position on the high side to actually make an overtake, or right now is he just trying to get Vincent Guecci out the way? Well, there you have it. That's the answer. Guecci not going to like it and nearly comes right back at him. That could have been much, much worse. It's still going to be tight as drivers progress. Coming down the straight here again, the 88 machine of Vincent Guecci. Looking low is Thurston, and both drivers are going to pile by that number 88. In due time, Jim Thurston gets the spot. And now Ashton Crowder's going to get spun. Big contact, and it's going to involve Jim Thurston. Yellow flags out, and that is the big one. From top to bottom, the field is all involved, and the yellow flag is out. Let's take a look back, as I think this is the biggest wreck of the day. Here's an instant replay. Crowder gets caught up big. Take a look now at that number 53, and Armstrong gets a wiggle, then Page is going to end up turning in, and both of your contenders are going to get damaged there. Page maybe a little bit more, and he loses a spot to Jim Thurston. Yellow flags out. Additionally, that is going to involve further on back. Schugel was damaged to begin with. Wilkerson barely gets by. Crowder destroyed. Devins Baker just barely scrapes through, and Braxton Whitaker catches the piece on the backside. Yellow flag is out with 112 laps in the books, and Joe Armstrong leads the way. So now, Joe Armstrong, Vincent Guecci, and River Page are your top 3. They find themselves here after a pit cycle, which gave them the advantage. They went down a pit road last, completely different laps. So Armstrong's been on the track for 72 laps here, which is the longest stint of anyone on the track, and potentially that's going to be the longest stint of the day. Then you have, for 37 laps, Vincent Guecci, and River Page. He's been on the track for 18 laps on this stint, the shortest of the big 3, so to speak. It looks like Page is going to be giving back that spot, but you know what he isn't going to be giving back? His rear bumper. We'll see how bad that is, as now you see River Page has some detrimental damage. If he gets touched back there, that could be the end of his race. It's going to be 2 laps to green and make it 1 this time by. It is now going to come down to the top side for Joe Armstrong and the bottom for Vincent Guecci. A different look at the front of the field every 50 or so laps. And right now, Armstrong, one of the drivers, taking advantage of the circumstance at hand. Jim Thurston and River Page are your championship hopefuls who have decided to take in that second row. And now, we'll see what River Page can do. He's got damage. It might not be race ending, but it's not going to be easy. I'd be surprised if it goes over well for the driver of that number 88, or rather, because he's got River pushing, but most importantly, that 24 not going to be in a good spot. Here we go again. It's going to be Joe Armstrong getting things moving. Green flags out, and Armstrong gets a car length jump. Now Thurston going to be run up the racing circuit. He's got River Page right behind him, but notably Page is on the high side here, while Guecci is right down low. If Page opts to go down to the inside and try to get Guecci out the way, it could be 2 spots made up in 1 turn. That's, of course, if he decides to play it smooth here and just wait for a mistake to come out of it. And you see there, Thurston getting as high as he possibly can, just trying to get the run off the corner, but River a little bit slower. He's experiencing the downside, of course, of that damage. Yellow flags out again, and it is going to involve this time by, it looks like Devins Baker, Aaron Schugel, and Ashton Crowder. Cautions out once more. Well, here you have it. Ashton Crowder, who was having such a good race to begin this one, well, looks like that's no longer the way it's going. Here's the 53, 3 wide, 4 wide technically. Then Schugel took him up the track, and Ashton once again involved. That brings Devins Baker and Aaron Schugel to a halt. Caution is out yet again. So, for those who have been keeping counts, and our race summary information has, that is the 12th caution of the day with 32 laps to go. So, we've hit a dozen. Next up would, of course, be the big 13. Hopefully we don't get to that point, but right now, anything's on the table, and we are slowly but surely still climbing as we're set to go back green at about lap 122 here before all things come to a close here in North Carolina. Rather, North Carolina no longer. This is Martinsville, Virginia. We've been in a bit of a North Carolina swing, and we're not going back for the rest of the season here in the IORA Cup Series. Last time we went was the Charlotte doubleheader. Right now, though, we find ourselves a little bit further up. In terms of the United States, it's Virginia that's holding forth. And then we go down south. That is going to be Miami, Florida. Homestead never disappoints, and as a championship race, it has played host to some great battles. I think the most exciting battle might have come down to Season 2. It was 3 drivers who were fighting for the championship on that day. Mosteller, Moriarty, Alex Anderson. And that's when Demos was able to prove that his first title was not a fluke. He won his second IORA Cup Series championship nearly 2 years ago to the day. So now we're going to be at less than 30 laps to go when we go back to the green. 29 remaining exactly. Here comes Armstrong, low again, and now Jim Thurston in a really comfortable position. He's on the inside line. He's got River Page behind him. What he just has to do from now is not mess up, which is easier said than done, but there's a possibility. Now, with the iRacing official pace car letting loose this time by, Joe Armstrong and Vincent Guecci have a chance to keep on fighting for the win. The title battle, distracting as it's been for the rest of the field, has not let these two stop in their pursuit of victory, so to speak. And right now, they're going to be relentless. Armstrong, with a little bit of hood damage, has to get that burst off the line. Green flags out, and Thurston runs under. Three wide, it almost was there with Chase Schaefer looking under Clark Nance, and Henry Kaloff does not come of it though, and it looks like thinking better. Lyles is going to spin into Clark Nance and into Chase Schaefer. That is caution 13. No brakes tonight for the field. That's another caution. It's your 13th. Take a look back here. Corey Lyles is going to end up on the high side, and he had River Page right there with. And as he got off the corner, no contact there. We took it a little bit further back for a little bit more context. Up the track, he gets in the Guecci, then comes down to the Cormetis, and then comes up the track, and he's going to take out Nance. He's going to take in Schaefer, and he ends up staying straight. But Lyles has been one of the drivers involved with the majority of the cautions tonight. Whether he was involved in collateral damage or ending up causing it, Lyles not the best of nights for this number 56. And the yellow flag is out for the 13th time in 134 laps. 124 laps. 134 is being generous. So we've had a caution, one caution for every 9-ish laps so far today. Not the best of averages. Hopefully things get figured out here by the tail end of it. 125 laps in out of 150. We will be coming back to green with 24 laps remaining. The tail end of this race has become as unpredictable as the beginning. It stayed that way for the majority of the night. We got 120 lap stint in, but it looks like all of a sudden we're going back the same route. Caution after caution after caution, which is exciting in one sense, but also you don't see much green flag racing. I mean, right now, Thurston, we might see him go out there, fight for the win. He might disregard River Page. He might go up to the top side and try to get around Joe Armstrong, or he could try to stay behind and wait for the chips to fall where they may. River Page and Jim Thurston are coming up to an impasse here with 25 remaining, and this might be one of the most important restarts. Hopefully this one doesn't get determined by a caution, but the rate this race has gone, this has been one of our most caution-filled races since Season 4, and there has been no stopping the action. River Page goes high. That's a big, big move. He's going to decide to take that track position as opposed to being down to the more comfortable bottom side. Big deal here. Let's see what's going on as the field is going to get back to green this time by for lap 128. It's going to be 24 laps to go as it stands. We'll be coming back green with 23 remaining. And next time by, we're going to crank it up with 22 laps to go, courtesy of our friends at TrackCams22.com. The 22 is leading the field back to green. Let's get at it once more. And Joe Armstrong leads the field back to green. Going to get things loud on this coming lap with 22 laps remaining. Once again, we'd like to thank TrackCams22.com for their wonderful services live on FTN with the best cameras in simulation racing broadcasting. Armstrong loose, and he'll spin back up the track. This is your 14th caution. Kaloff involved, Dugan involved, and it's another huge wreck. Oh, and Whitaker spins out of 2 and collects Brandon Dugan. And gets Devins Baker. Are you kidding me? The wreck that keeps on wrecking. Take a look here. We're going to play it in slow motion. That's how many drivers wrecked. We're going to play it back as slow as it gets. So it starts with Armstrong. We saw that point already. Now this is when it becomes more drivers. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Lyles does catch a piece. That's the 4th. Then Braxton gets involved. He's going to be number 5 here. And he tries to get away. Doesn't work. Lyles gets him. Then, number 6, Devins Baker. Armstrong is done for the night. And the yellow flag's out with 20 laps to go. And unfortunately, that's just a circumstance you cannot avoid if you're in the back of the field at times. And Ashton Crowder, some choice words for the drivers here, and he's definitely not happy about what's been going on here. Crowder getting a little bit of trouble here, perhaps with someone around him. Maybe Devins Baker. maybe Wyatt Wilkerson. I think more so it might be aimed at Corey Lyles, as Wilkerson does have a relatively clean car. Wyatt Wilkerson is back up in 12th. He went down to pit road for nearly 4 minutes earlier in this race and went several laps down. He is back with us. How about that for Wyatt Wilkerson? He has made it happen. And with all the cautions, he's once again returned. We'll go back green with 17 laps remaining now, and River Page gets the race lead from Jim Thurston. His gamble paid off, and once again another turning point here, just like that, and the driver of the 24 looks low. He'll bring Thurston with him, and now it's going to be your championship contenders bottom side, Michael Cormetis right up top. Going to come through this time by, and we're going to crank it up now with 17 laps to go. Once again, check out trackcams22.com after tonight's broadcast for iRacing's leading broadcast camera provider. The best broadcasters choose the best cameras, and that's the reason trackcams22.com. It's our place to go for all broadcasted cameras live on FTN. Let's crank it up with 17 laps to go. Well, that lasted a lap. That is your 15th caution of the day. Yellow flag is out once more, and it's another big incident back of the field. Let's take a look at why that happened. So, Ashton Crowder was involved, that we saw. Now we're going to take a look and figure out a little bit more here. It looks like Kaloff, maybe, and it starts... No, with Michael Cormetis, and Mikey at the front of the field ends up spinning, and multiple drivers have to swerve their way around, and Jacob Wilkerson catches a piece. Wilkerson ends up sliding. The yellow flag's out again with 15 laps to go, and another break in the action. We've had 58 caution laps so far out of 136 laps, so we would be coming up on very close to 40% of this race being under yellow, given the way it's gone. 15 cautions, 15 laps to go. Well, we're going to have a very, very high caution per lap rate. It's going to be at least one caution per 10 laps the way things are going. It's going to be most likely more if we get one. Could bring us up to about 10.3, 10.4 if we get to 16. Looks like right now the odds are not in the favor of the drivers. We should be getting back green at about 12 laps to go, and maybe it's a chance to go for the rest of the way till then. If we get a 12-lap stint, it will be the second longest of the day. Once again, going to be a major test for these drivers as they come across the line, and it looks like for River Page, he is opting to stay low, and he'll bring Jim Thurston right there with him. Daniel Mosteller now going to go up to the top side to get some track position. One lap to green, Jacob Wilkerson now makes it up to fourth despite the back end being gone. He's going to mimic River Page and try to go for a similarly successful result. Let's see what this number 24 can do. Looking to the bottom side as Daniel Osteller goes way high. Well, he's way high for Martinsville standards anyway. That second groove has not been the best, not the kindest to these drivers, as we're now with 12 laps to go, seeing River Page get the jump. And Page gets moved up top. Jim Thurston to the lead, and championship implications. Now Palawana goes under. It's a hornet's nest. The 25 wiggles high, and Page drops down to fifth. He's going to need a caution. Well, there he has it. Corey Lyles does the job for him. 10 laps to go. We're back under yellow. That's the 16th of the day. Take a look back. It looks like once again the back of the field has done a back of the field thing, and you gotta wonder, with 15 laps to go, less than that now, what are these drivers racing for where it's been like this since the very beginning? Palo Alto does a great job of saving it. We'll give him props for that, but Corey Lyles then catches a piece. Lyles, Dugan, and you saw there Braxton Whitaker cautions out again. Take a look back to the live feed. Jim Thurston now with a huge opportunity to pull points for the championship race. Now we're down to that single-digit lap count. The home stretch is here, and very few drivers, admittedly, have made it on the lead lap. Thurston, Mosteller, and Guecci. And we're going to have ourselves a little bit of time before we get back into the racing here. We once again like to thank our partners at Tango Paints, and we'll return after the following message. Check out Tango Paints on Twitter for access to the best iRacing liveries in the business. You've seen them on our broadcast. You've seen them on many broadcasts. They work with teams such as Ancient World Gaming and McConey's Setup Shop before, and we hope you see them in just a moment's time on your screen. Check out the word from Tango Paints, the official paint scheme provider of FTN. Eight laps to go, and we are still counting down. Welcome to the last leg of the tour here in Martinsville. Well, one extra lap there, so it's going to be now 6 laps to go, and we go back green. Thurston, bottom side, he'll bring Demos with him. This could be the most important race of Thurston's championship hunt, looking to become the second ever 2-time champion in this league. River Page, though, looking to get his own title and become a first-time champ with Season 5 coming to a close. Thurston now hoping to gain some points back to make it a level playing field in the Homestead, Miami. Let's see what we can do now. Half a lap to go till we go green yet again. Green flag is going to be out this time by. 7 laps to go and still counting down. Well, make it the big 6. 6 laps to go. Thurston gets the jump and a rocket launch start for the 96. River Page now going to have to make something happen and quick. He can't really bank on a caution now that we're at the late stage of this race. Anything is possible, but right now he's going to take Wilkerson and he's going to tap him. That's going to see Nathan Palo Alto up on the wall. No caution, and now Page goes 3 wide. Down and under Guecci. He's got Ashton Crowder right up high. Jim Thurston's been able to make up some ground, and Page gets in a third. Damage recovery is already going to be in full plan. Henry Kaloff. Is that going to be a yellow? He saves it. We stay green. 4 laps to go. Jim Thurston now on the way, and River Page is still chasing. Page going to have to go to all-out mode here if he wants any opportunity to make up a pass, but Ashton Crowder now goes down to the inside line, tries to put the bumper to Page. There is no bumper to speak of. This shouldn't be too hard for Ashton as he now goes under with 3 laps remaining. Page really can't afford to do much right now except for sit in line and hope he does not have any contact on the backside. And it looks like now that Ashton gets through, it's all down to Daniel Mosteller and Jim Thurston for the win. Demos will move Thurston. 2 laps to go. And it's popsicle sticks in Martinsville. Now it's going to be Daniel Mosteller looking deep. Jim Thurston going to find himself up on the high side into 2 grooves at Martinsville, but Demos has the better of him, and he's going to come down to the line here. The white flag flying on the inside groove. Thurston, he is at odds with himself. He's got to find a way down under, or he's got to move Daniel Mosteller one way or another. Both of these drivers still have a shot. Ashton Crowder now gaining more ground, creeping into the frame, but it's Daniel Mosteller right down and under, and through 3 and 4, it'll be a drag race. If they keep it straight, Demos is going to go up high, and Thurston goes higher at the line. Jim Thurston wins by 24 one-thousandths of a second. Thurston collects the most important win of the season, and he will win from Daniel Mosteller. The high side prevails, and Thurston does what seemed to be impossible, winning from up top. Can you believe it? At the stripe, and they're beating and banging, and Daniel Mosteller's worst mistake was hitting him one too many times. Thurston wins at Martinsville. Thurston celebrating, burning down the house with his teammate River Page. And as River continues to celebrate, Jim Thurston gonna take a lap, burn it down, and he's gonna call it at that. What a way to win. Knowing the circumstances, that's about the best outcome that Thurston could get. Thurston wins by 24 one-thousandths of a second, and he's going to have Daniel Mosteller then in second. Ashton Crowder going to round out the top three. Then it's going to be fourth place in River Page, and Jacob Wilkerson then in a fifth. Going to be sixth place, Vincent Guecci, seventh for Michael Cormenis on his return, and Aaron Schugel then going to be in eighth. Ninth spot is Henry Kaloff, and 10th is going to be Chase Schaefer with 11th place then and there going to the driver in the number 90. It's Wyatt Wilkerson. Then Brandon Dugan going to be in 12th. Nathan Palawana is in 13th. Braxton Whitaker is 14th. Evans Baker is in 15th, with Corey Lyles 16th, Clark Nance in 17th, Joe Armstrong 18th, Kyle Turksack in 19th, Will Shack, the final driver of the day. Can you believe it? Jim Thurston getting the win, and he comes into this day 12 points back on the championship lead. Well, he knew the circumstances. It was a high-stakes race from the jump, and tonight, Jim Thurston, he executed. And when we talk about laps led, well, let's talk about laps led. 10 lap led on the day, and Jim, you led the most important one, fighting with a championship on the line. This might be the biggest win in your season so far, setting yourself up nicely for Miami next week. How does it feel to win at the paperclip?
Oh my God, dude, that feels absolutely amazing. I was on such old tires right there. I wanted to pit so bad because I didn't want to stay on those tires. I knew guys like Mose and Crowder would be up here on freshies, and once you have those, you're pretty much set. And I don't know. I don't know how me and Mo stayed side by side for that long without like getting into each other too hard. But I mean, we kept it clean and respectful, and just hats off to him just for not sitting me up the track in 3 and 4. Just so glad to get it done here today in the Need for Speed paint scheme, the Razor Flames Mustang car. I mean, it's a very cool looking race car, I must say. Even though I designed it, it's very cool. Just super happy to win this for Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsports, and it should help us a ton of the points.
It's a big boost in the points, and we know how close it is. You and River Page going at it as Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsport drivers. So this is all about the team. And as it stands, of course, you and River coming in, you were at the disadvantage. And for the majority of the night, it seems you just couldn't get around him. But we had 16 cautions. So it was a high number there. You had a lot of opportunities to reset. You think that ended up helping you?
Not really. I think that honestly, my strong suit was going to be the longer runs, but we never really got those. So like, I mean, I had to start to adapt. Early on, I was being a little bit aggressive. And I think it hurt me a few times on the restarts because I just got shot up the track into the dirty stuff, and I just lost spots. So once I stopped doing that, I just started to back off. I never really like got back into people except for River on one of those last couple of restarts. I just didn't. I just broke too late. I didn't mean to hit him that hard, but just try to keep the nose clean because you're not going to win the race if the car doesn't have any fenders left on it. I mean, it is Martinsville, but you still got to keep it relatively clean. And that's what we did here. And it's probably what's going to win the championship if we can do that next weekend.
Now the goal is to replicate what we see tonight, a
Or
win.
not next weekend, next week.
Yeah, you're right about that, next week. Well, with that being said, when the points are calculated and we figure out what the scenario is, you're in a really good spot now compared to what it was coming in. 12 points to the viewers might not sound like a lot, but with our point system, that is tight. It is very tight when you got yourself with the advantage. But right now, you find yourself even closer. It's a good position to maybe go for it, but you got to execute one more time. And we've seen you doing pretty good at Homestead before. You won a championship there anyway. Maybe a chance to go for your second?
Yeah, absolutely. We're really fast there, and we're hoping to bring, another really fast race car. And just, can't say too much about it yet because it hasn't happened. We just got to go out there and just show them what we got.
And time to figure out what's left in the tank. Thurston leaving it all on the line to win here at Martinsville. And we thank you for your time. If you have any final shout-outs, make sure to let us know.
Yeah, just thanks to Ashton Crowder. He was in the voice chat, and I think he helped me to tone it down a little bit and keep the car cleaner. Just he's really quick. And yeah, just River working with me most of the race. And yeah, just really, really happy to get it done here.
And a huge win when it matters the most. Jim Thurston coming home with the victory at the paperclip. We thank you for your time.
Thank you.
With Thurston on the way, let's get in your second place finisher on the night, Daniel Mosteller, who was, for the first 50 laps of this race, in a real good spot, but ended up falling a bit further back and came back when it all mattered most. But for Mosteller, how about that finish? 24 thousandths of a second, and you're coming back from missing Watkins Glen. It looks like you did not skip a beat today. Second place, and with that distance, you almost got yourself another win.
That was awesome. From, lap 120, I thought I was out of it. River throw me into the wall on a restart. I was back in the pack, but I had some fresh tires, unlike the guys up at the front. And slowly but surely, I avoided all the wrecks. And I got the Thurston there. I used the bumper. Some may say it was a little too early, but I felt like that was my shot. I made sure to keep him on my outside so he wouldn't be able to return the favor, and I thought I was going to get it. But then we started beating doors down the front straightaway, and it just knocked my car sideways, and I started spinning out. And then, that's so close. It sucks to lose by that much, but it's a good run that I've really needed for how this playoffs have gone. It's been absolutely horrific. So probably not going to win the championship. Probably out of it now with Thurston winning, but second's always good. I think I closed in on Dugan for third on the points, so that's good. A little bummed. But you can't be upset with second place after a run like that.
And not a bad way to get things going at all here in the very home stretch of the season. We saw you were able to work with the strategy tonight, what was left of the strategy to get the lead early, and you came back late in the going, a 38-lap stint at the end, and cautions kept the strategy all over the place. So you were from the front of the field to the back all night long, as low as 17th. You knew everything about the track, basically, so you experienced it all. What was it like having to go from top to bottom to top to bottom again?
I think my strategy was really good. They all pit eventually, and I decided to stay out with about I think 5 or 6 other people, being Core Metis, and I was able to log some laps, learn more about the track and what my car did, how to drive it, and I held on to it for a while. And track position was really important. And then I came in to finally take my tire set and fill up on fuel, and I flew through the field. So tires definitely meant something, but we really didn't have a lot of long green flag runs, so it really didn't matter. And as I said earlier, when River shipped me, I thought my race was over. Being that far back in the pack with all the yellows we're getting, not going to get a long green flag run, but I was able to charge my way up to the field and ultimately have a shot at the win. Almost worked out, but second's not too bad, and it's a good points day.
And a good points day to finish up a run at the paperclip. We've only got one race left here, and although you won't be able to go for the championship here, it's another great season in the books. How are you feeling coming up to the tail end of this championship run?
I'm a bit disappointed, obviously, because I had I felt like I had a really good regular season. I had that win at Phoenix and the win at the Oval. But it was a season full of mistakes that I made some silly mistakes, but it was also a season full of just being in the wrong place at the wrong time and caught up in other people's messes, which plagued me. And then, yeah, Talladega, that was probably the most crucial race for me, since I had to miss Watkins Glen, and ultimately I got wrecked by the points leader, and that kind of killed any shot I had at winning it. But I'm 1 point behind Dugan in P3 in the points, so if I want to get a podium in the championship, it's got to beat Dugan by 1 spot next week.
And one spot can make all the difference here. Daniel Mosteller coming through in the second spot. We thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Demo's going to be on the way. One more driver to speak to is the number 53 of Ashton Crowder. Mosteller led a total of 37 laps, and Ashton Crowder led just one more in 38. Maybe not the race you were expecting today, Ashton, but all things considered, you made your way through and come home for the podium. Regardless of all the chaos there, you made your way back up.
Yeah, that was a rough race for everybody. I had a moment there where I was on a really good strategy and was second behind Joe, and then we were just talking about it up there in the general chat. He was kind of like intentionally trying to get me to hit him, which I don't really understand why you would do that. But yeah, no, it was a struggle for sure. I was really fast, which I was happy with. Got the pole by like almost a tenth, and that was pretty cool. And had a really good long run, but it was just it was a lot less, I don't want to say stupidity, but it just wasn't smart. So yeah, pretty rough.
And I think this has to be the most cautions we've seen in one race in about 2 seasons here. You mentioned it, rough all around the edges with 16 yellow flags, so maybe not the race you were expecting there. What was it like having to navigate through that, given this fact that when we went to Charlotte and you were here previously, it was only 1 yellow flag?
Yeah, it's pretty much just trying to avoid making contact with guys. Like, you have to make a conscious effort not to hit people. And I think guys in here, well, at least tonight anyways, kind of forgot that. Like, if you're going to a short track and there's checkups everywhere, it's kind of like you're on the interstate, like if there's a big checkup in front of you, like you have to think to yourself, oh, let me brake, because you're so used to going 70, 80 miles per hour, depending on what state you're in, that, when it happens, you're like, oh crap, like I gotta get on the brakes here. And it's like, I don't know if nobody wanted to do it or what was going on, but like, it was just, it wasn't, like I was saying, it wasn't smart. And there's a few like intentional wrecks. Like I know Dugan intentionally wrecked, I think maybe Joe or something early on in the race. And I was in the same Discord channel as him, and that made me pretty upset because I'm like I'm taking my time out, not to vent, but like I'm taking my time out to run this, and we just have like a 20 lap run to start the race, and then because something small happened, you're gonna like intentionally wreck the guy. Doesn't make any sense. Like why would you be that on edge that early on in the race that you'd do that? Just doesn't add up to me. So I think there's probably just a lot of that going on, and when that's happening, like you pretty much just have to avoid. And sadly, a couple times I got spun, but it definitely could have been worse for me. P3 is not the end of the world, but yeah, it was definitely a challenge.
Well, all things considered, a very challenging race, Ashton, and we got one more here that we might be a little more comfortable with. It's going to be Homestead Miami Speedway. Now, only your second run around with the short tracks and all, it's much different from the victory at Charlotte, so maybe a chance to go back to the mile and a half and find something a little more comfortable?
Yeah, if I remember to race, definitely. I went to this horse riding lesson with my niece and completely forgot that the race was happening and I was planning on doing it. So that was pretty scary. Got here pretty late. But yeah, I definitely want to do that. Homestead's one of my favorite racetracks actually, so I think that'd be pretty cool. And definitely with it not being a short track, I'm assuming it'll be a lot cleaner. Um, but yeah, just hopeful that I would say probably the 5 guys that were like hitting each other intentionally kind of just go back and think about how much time they wasted and how much time they wasted of everybody else, letting their emotion, mind, and egos come in the way.
Well, there we have it, Ashton Crowder with the message for the field. If any final shout-outs before we get back on our way for Miami, make sure to let us know right now.
Sure, I appreciate it. Yeah, you for putting on the broadcast, Mason, everybody putting on the league. My guy Mason, I felt so bad for him. He was getting chirped at the whole time, and when you're the admin, you get blamed for everything. So hopefully he's able to let things go. um, but yeah, BC Lunatech, everybody on the team, Nathan Palawota especially. The new truck update came out, and we had some setups that pretty much built ahead of time, just kind of taking a guess on what the truck would be like and what we would get. And we thought they were going to be really good, and ended up they were really bad. So we had to grind out a couple sessions to try to make make a truck for Kentucky that ran halfway decent, and seemed like we made one that was pretty decent, and it wouldn't have been possible without him. So huge shout out to him. My girlfriend who's behind me watching, um, my grandparents, maybe my mom and niece too, if they're watching, they might be. Well, I know my niece isn't going to bed, but maybe my mom is, and yeah, let's see. Caitlin Clark, yeah, shout out to her.
And there we have it, Ashton Crowder getting things going here for another podium finish despite the trials and tribulations, holding through for a top 3. We thank you for your time.
You too. Thank you.
Now, but Ashton Crowder on the way, that looks to be a word from all of our top 3 drivers here. Ashton Crowder coming in 3rd, and Daniel Mosteller in the 2nd spot. Jim Thurston with one of the most clutch performances of the season wins here from the paperclip in the Chillville 150. We'd like to thank all the drivers for stopping by, giving us a little bit of a word after tonight's broadcast. Maybe a little bit longer of a race than we expected, but all was fun till the very end. So we thank you all for stopping by as the viewers live on FTN, and we hope you enjoyed our coverage, exclusive coverage of the IORA Cup Series at the Martinsville Speedway. Our season finale is next Thursday night at 7:20 p.m. Eastern, so if you enjoyed this broadcast, make sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel so you can stay tuned for whatever's next. Well, the next race for us on the channel will be tomorrow night, and it's going to be the Prodigy Racing Association as they bring their truck series to FTN for the first time in series history. I've been your host, David Kreutz, commentating and producing, so we hope you enjoyed all of tonight's presentation. If you did, once more, leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for watching live on FTN. It has been an exciting race from the paperclip. We hope you all have a fantastic night.